Unit 7. Gratify. I was gratified to hear that he agreed with me. Resent. Ms. Hill resented his thoughtless words. Bungle. The police bungled the investigation of the crime. Fringe. The laboratory is located on the fringe of a forested area. Rancid. The butter went rancid in a few days. Spoof. The movie was a spoof of Star Wars. Rueful. He had a rueful smile on his face. Flinch. She flinched at the sound of the door slamming. Irrational. Let's stop this irrational argument. Elated. They were elated at the birth of their first child. Emancipate. The slaves were emancipated by the revolution. Prowl. The cat was prowling around in search of mice.
Nebulous. At first, the plan was pretty nebulous. Arrears. His rent is 10 days in arrears. Maneuver. A boy is maneuvering a toy boat using a remote control. Garrulous. After she drank a few glasses of wine, she became garrulous. Hallucinate. The patient seemed to be hallucinating at that time. Stampede. A herd of buffalo is stampeding across the plains. Enigmatic. She approached me with an enigmatic smile. Famished. They were absolutely famished by lunchtime. Dilate. He was looking at the scene with eyes dilated and mouth open. Swab. He was swabbing the wooden floor. Lubricate. She lubricates the motorcycle chain every 3 months. Chide. The teacher chided students for their lack of effort.
Attrition. The company cut about 200 employees through attrition and layoffs. Acquiesce. The father acquiesced in the removal of the children. Ammunition. The soldiers ran out of ammunition during the battle. Enthrall. His show enthralled the audience with his dynamic dance. Romp. They are performing a comical romp at the theater now. Auxiliary. The hospital is now recruiting auxiliary staff. Desultory. For a few moments we talked in a desultory manner. Condiment. Condiments are used to enhance flavor. Trounce. Our team was trounced 10-2 in the last game. Gripe. My only gripe with this smartphone is the size of the screen. Uncanny. The man has an uncanny resemblance to my cousin. Lag. Supply has lagged behind demand.
Luster. Shakespeare's works never lose their luster. Tether. She tethered her horse to a pole. Chunky. He wore a chunky sweater and looked chic. Segregate. The room was segregated into smoking and non-smoking areas. Slur. We regard this remark as a slur on our humanity. Goad. He was goaded into losing his temper during the debates. Bereaved. The company announced they would compensate the bereaved family. Entwine. A young couple were walking on the street with their arms entwined. Anomaly. They are aiming at removing anomalies in the tax system. Strife. The political instability in the country was caused by ethnic strife. Scrounge. He often scrounges money from his parents and friends. Cordial. The two countries maintain a cordial relationship.
Quadruple. Visitors to the zoo have quadrupled in the last 5 years. Numb. My fingers were numb working with cold water. Tumble. I lost my balance and tumbled forward. Molecule. Each molecule of ozone has 3 atoms of oxygen. Expel. This device filters harmful substances from the expelled air. Entail. A large investment entails some risk. Contend. The lawyer contended that he was innocent of the crime. Graffiti. The wall was sprayed with graffiti. Clutter. We tend to get lost in the clutter of information. Endorse. The committee endorsed the proposals. Incite. The report incited fear among the public. Chaotic. The situation remains chaotic.
Irrelevant. That evidence is irrelevant to the case. Blurt. He almost blurted out that he loved her. Infighting. The discussion has made little progress because of the parties infighting. Dispensable. A smartphone seems to be dispensable for me. Wrestle. The financial authorities are wrestling with the issue of deflation at present. Obscure. There was nothing obscure in what he was saying. Embryo. This drug is said to pose potential risks to embryos. Impair. Alcohol impairs our quick judgment. Simultaneous. She has been a simultaneous interpreter for 10 years. Restoration. The wall paintings are currently under restoration. Prestige. The campaign helps the company increase its prestige. Adrift. The sailboat was adrift in the Pacific Ocean for 10 days.
Pawn. The man pawned his watch to pay his son's debts. Lunar. The satellite is exploring the lunar orbit. Decay. The wooden bridge has totally decayed. Sidestep. The report sidestepped the religious issue. Discontent. There was widespread discontent among the staff about low wages. Bizarre. I've never heard such a bizarre story. Intrusive. They are developing lighter and less intrusive products. Reimburse. The company reimburses the employees for the cost of seminars. Vandalism. The monument was destroyed by vandalism. Parameter. We have to work within the parameters of the budget. Ignominious. They suffered an ignominious defeat against a lower-ranking team. Surpass. This film far surpasses the original novel.
Mimicry. The boy was doing mimicry of famous actors. Demographic. He has conducted demographic research in the area. Stern. She was brought up by her stern father. Instability. Rising prices of basic foods could lead to political instability. Diversion. The aim of the diversion of the river is to prevent floods. Deputy. He has served as the president's deputy. Artifact. The museum features various artifacts from ancient Greece. Sanitation. Poor sanitation increased the spread of the disease. Commence. She quit the company and commenced her own business. Compile. The document was compiled by a city officer. Turnover. A high turnover of employees has become a problem in the industries. Lousy. The service at the restaurant was lousy.
Indelible. His works left an indelible mark on the history of music. Adolescent. She spent most of her adolescent years abroad. Reversal. The mayor made a reversal of the decision on the issue. Diminutive. That diminutive woman is his wife. Phonetic. This table shows a list of phonetic symbols. Eerie. The wind is making eerie noises. Chronicle. This book chronicles the events during World War II. Erupt. The volcano has erupted twice this year. Grasp. She found it difficult to grasp the meaning of the poem. Proclaim. The country proclaimed itself independent. Prevalence. Smoking prevalence has fallen among young people. Tremendous. This measure enables us to save a tremendous amount of money.
Duplicate. You are not allowed to duplicate this CD. Preferential. They give their regular customers preferential treatment at that shop. Precede. A reception preceded the summit meeting. Respiratory. This disease affects the respiratory system. Philanthropy. After retirement, he started his philanthropy. Cerebral. Chess is a cerebral game. Cipher. The secret message was written in cipher. Pollination. Bees are necessary for pollination of various crops. Swerve. He suddenly swerved to avoid a cat. Oversight. The company performs a strict oversight of investment. Fertility. The fertility rate of the country has been relatively stable. Potent. She played a potent role in developing the product.
Elongate. She wore high heels to elongate her legs. Paragon. The country has been considered to be the paragon of the welfare state. Pervade. A feeling of happiness pervaded my heart. Premise. His argument is based on the false premise. Forgery. The painting was later found to be a forgery. Loom. This report shows the looming food crisis. Loot. Some demonstrators began to loot the stores. Coffer. The iron industry has supported the country's government coffers. Mitigate. We should take action to mitigate environmental damage. Decent. I have been in pretty decent shape for 10 years. Pendulum. The pendulum stopped swinging a few years ago. Chant. The demonstrators chanted slogans against the war.
Naive. It is naive to believe everything on the internet. Deference. They were awakened to the danger of deference to authority. Abruptly. She stood abruptly and left the room. Evaporate. The sun's heat evaporates water from oceans, lakes, rivers, etc. Ambiguous. His testimony was ambiguous and lacked details. Spawn. Her theory spawned a debate in the scientific world. Stale. We were completely tired of his stale jokes. Monarch. He became monarch at the age of 15. Laureate. Samuelson is the first American Nobel laureate in economics. Unprecedented. The country now faces an unprecedented fiscal crisis. Stationary. The price of the product has remained stationary. Bribery. He is suspected to be involved in the bribery case.
Tranquil. I grew up in a small tranquil village. Ponder. He is pondering the meaning of life. Juvenile. The number of juvenile crimes has dramatically decreased. Implicate. We were implicated in a scandal. Demote. The director was demoted to assistant for the failure. Delectable. I woke up to a delectable smell of coffee. Fragility. The teacher talked to her students about the fragility of life. Rubbish. Recycling is a good way to reduce the amount of rubbish. Exert. He exerted pressure on the group. Hinder. The long distance between them did not hinder their love. Infectious. Infectious diseases have spread over the region. Eligible. People over 60 are eligible for this benefit.
Linger. Many students lingered after class to talk with the teacher. Lurk. The boys found a snake lurking in the grass. Plunge. The number of road accidents in the city plunged last year. Demolition. They carried out the demolition of the old building. Speculation. There has been much speculation about his death. Vulgar. His joke was so vulgar that no one laughed. Bountiful. We enjoyed a bountiful harvest of rice last year. Gulp. Don't gulp your food and chew thoroughly before swallowing. De facto. The city became the de facto financial center of the world. Fatality. Fortunately, there were no fatalities in this incident. Stalemate. The peace talks reached a stalemate after months of negotiations. Notoriously. The weather in England is notoriously bad.
Expulsion. Expulsion of minorities is taking place in that country. Leeway. He was given maximum leeway in order to complete his task. Hallmark. This is thought to be a hallmark of organized crime. Nominal. There is a nominal charge for the delivery. Qualm. I felt some qualms about accepting the money. Apathy. The younger generation's apathy towards politics is growing. Weary. I was too weary to walk another step. Amid. The minister resigned amid widespread criticism. Ordeal. They survived their terrible ordeal. Transaction. Accepting this transaction is risky. Intimidate. The government has said that it will not be intimidated by terrorists. Criterion. Applicants must meet all of the criteria listed below.
Den. The children found a den of an animal during the hike. Weather. The company managed to weather the difficult situation. Simmer. Tensions are simmering between the management and the union. Wreckage. A survivor was found in the wreckage. Impersonal. She found the city rather impersonal. Parch. This plant grows even in the parched ground. Spur. The prize she won spurred her to work harder. Coma. She is still in a coma. Viable. This project is not economically viable. Epidemic. The school classes were closed due to the flu epidemic. Rally. A lot of students attended the anti-war rally. Returnee. There are an increasing number of returnees who studied or worked abroad.
Preclude. The lack of data precluded us from performing an appropriate analysis. Fuel. This event fueled the campaign for democracy. Outlive. In general, women outlive men. Layman. The concept of entropy is generally not well understood among laymen. Exemplify. These works fully exemplify her genius. Disavow. He disavowed his responsibility for the accident. Atheist. I'm not sure if I'm an atheist or not. Deflect. He tried to deflect people's attention away from his own failure. Bionic. Bionic technology is rapidly advancing. Allocate. The city should allocate more funds for education. Commend. She was commended for her volunteer efforts in the community. Ablaze. Her eyes were ablaze with passion.
Lapse. He was not aware of his lapse in judgment then. Reminisce. I often reminisce about my younger days in Miami. Harbor. He harbored dozens of people during the war. Blink. We blink less when looking at a computer screen. Idiosyncratic. The pianist has an idiosyncratic playing style. Corrode. This metal corrodes easily when exposed to water. Deceptive. This seems to be edible, but looks are deceptive. Protagonist. The protagonist of the story is a young boy. Mediate. He tries to mediate the border dispute between the two countries. Flattery. None are more taken in by flattery than the proud. Audit. This organization audits the accounts of government departments. Stature. He is a movie director of international stature.
Coherent. His argument was logical and coherent. Invariably. Whenever my reason and emotion are in conflict, emotion invariably wins. Hypothetical. I'll ask you a hypothetical question. Remedial. The teacher told them to take a remedial class. Arduous. The road to the country's independence was long and arduous. Adjacent. The post office is adjacent to the station. Redundant. With this software, redundant files are automatically deleted. Vicarious. I get a vicarious satisfaction from reading adventure stories. Boon. This new station will be a boon to local residents. Psychic. Your physical condition will affect your psychic state. Pathetic. Her performance was pathetic. Municipality. Leaders of several municipalities are against the bill.
Consign. He consigned her photos to the wastebasket. Elevation. Machu Picchu is located at an elevation of about 2,400 meters. Synonymous. Big is synonymous with large. Cozy. She loved the cozy living room. Smuggle. The group tried to smuggle baby monkeys. Grumble. My wife is always grumbling about something. Demoralize. The ace's injury demoralized the entire team. Insidious. They called attention to the insidious problems. Inhospitable. Their ancestors settled in an inhospitable land. Enraged. Many people got enraged by the newspaper's article. Freight. The company operates small boats to carry passengers and freight. Concur. I concur with you on that point.
Data file. Antibiotic. Antibody. Antidote. Antiseptic. Antithesis. Biodiversity. Biofuel. Biomedical. Bionics. Biotechnology. Biotic. Counteract. Counterclaim. Counterintuitive. Countermand. Countermeasure. Decode. Destructive. Devalue. Deschooling. Dehumanize. Disaffection. Disapprove. Disarmament. Dishonesty. Disillusioned. Disingenuous. Disintegration. Dismantle. Dispassionate. Disproportionate. Disprove. Distrust. Inability. Inaccurate. Inadequate. Inadmissible. Inappropriate. Incompetent. Inconclusive. Incredible. Indigestion. Ineffective.